All right, we got 3 claps. Okay. Can you see the guy on the screen?
Yeah. Well, welcome back to the Hora Staccatto podcast. I'm Alex. This is my dad. We are. This is episode 2, right? Or no, episode 1.
Episode 1. Yeah, the last episode was 2 weeks ago. The previous episode was 2 weeks ago, episode 0. This new episode 1.
Yeah.
The title of the episode is... What's the title, Alex?
What's the title, Alex?
Yeah.
Really good question. Post-capitalist startup con. So we're going to be... Essentially, the entire episode... What me and my dad have set up is basically we're going to talk about a lot of the, what would you say, like the hubbub around AI, genetic modification, all these tech startups that are kind of...
But not just the tech startups or AI. AI is gonna be a subject later, but I think for introduction, I would say that in today's business environment, the name of the game is startup. Yeah. Everybody wants to start.
Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur.
So yeah, the entrepreneur, solopreneur, which is a different type of entrepreneur, and there's I believe a website, Investopedia, where you learn all the jargon of the game, and, revenue, cash flow, stock options, but I think if you look back, the reason for the startup paradigm to have become so popular and so successful is because back in, I believe, 2010 or maybe 2012 actually, Facebook, back then it was just Facebook, it was not Meta. Facebook went public, and many of their employees have become millionaires overnight because they joined the company early in the game, and instead of accepting high-paying positions in terms of salaries, the company paid them with stock options, and and that became kind of a position of envy for everybody else afterwards.
It also became a little bit of the norm, if I recall, right?
It was going to be a norm.
Apple, SpaceX, all these companies, they started paying
So hold on, before we go into the post Facebook.
Sure.
We need to go prior to that and remind people that Microsoft also paid in stock, and then also Apple, perhaps Amazon, Google for sure. And they realized that, I mean, a lot of the folks that have worked in these big companies have made bank, have made a good amount. I was not involved in software startups, but I was involved in a few space startups. Although I've never been in part of the SpaceX startup or other more successful ones. My experience has been on the other side, where I didn't really actually make any money out of it, but I did have a good salary, and it was all right for the time. But the reason I interrupted you with the norm is because it didn't become the norm. And the reason for that is because in the later startups, the choice of the company going IPO, going initial public offering IPO, and kind of going the classical route. This IPO thing would be the classical route, where you work hard for 5 years, and then the company goes public. In that 5 years, they pay you a salary to be able to support yourself, and then they pay you extra in little stock options that are initially valued at, let's say, 50 cents per piece, per option. When you get a bonus of $1,000 in options that are valued at 50 cents a piece, it means you get 2,000 options. Those 2,000 options are the equivalent, at the time you get them, they are the equivalent of $1,000. And you don't get one tranche, one shot of options. You meet some goals, company goals, some milestone or whatever. You get another 1,000, you get another 10,000, some other people. And so all of this is hypothetical, by the way.
Right.
I don't know, depending on the company. Some companies the option might not be 50 cents, might be 25 cents. Some companies, the options might be $1.
And to be clear, when you're talking about options, do you mean shares?
Yes.
Shares. Okay.
Well, but the reason, I believe the reason they're not called shares, but they're options, is because you don't want to, it might be something with the tax code or whatever. So when they're shares, it's different than.
Is that what company lingo called it? Like that was the.
Well, so share, I'm not sure. Maybe people should look it up. It's possible. Yeah, no, shares might actually be the legal term for when you are a public company on the stock exchange, like NASDAQ or some other. And so you can't, it's possible that you can't really call them shares if you're not on the stock exchange. But regardless, you get the option. The option is when it means that you have the option to exercise this share. So when the company goes public, and sometimes companies go public, but they have a period of time where when they say the employees are not allowed to exercise their shares for, let's say, for a year. So that way, because if you go public and then all your employees are selling, your stock is going to go down on the first day because there's much offer. People are offering, your employees are offering. When the company goes public, you get your shares at 50 cents per piece.
Yes.
And then you sell them at, if the company is successful, like Facebook, I don't know, maybe $10 or maybe $20 a piece. Let's say if it's $10 a piece, that means your money grows 20 times. So for 1,000 shares, you get $20,000. If it's $20 a share,
Yeah.
if you hold them longer, and you think it's going to go up even more,
Yes.
and it gets up to 100, then your money goes 200-fold.
You're being
So-
a part of your salary
Right.
is
So-
effectively a part of your salary or bonuses is garnished and replaced with a lottery ticket.
Right,
Is what you
and
just described.
Your money goes, well, yeah, but it's also a way for the company to say, hey, if you don't trust in our mission, then don't join. Like if you're looking for a job, but and you're applying for a job at Facebook, let's say, but you don't believe that Facebook's going to be a big company, then you're going to ignore the stock, whatever money they give you in stock options. But generally, there was a social contract where all these companies, Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, all these other, Salesforce, all these companies, they've generally agreed that, okay, you're going to work here for 5 years. Worst case, maybe 10 years. And then we're going to go public. And then the market is going to decide what the value of your work is. And you
Right.
might become a millionaire or not. Depends on how well the stock does on the market.
Yeah.
But one company that has, they've beaten their chest, and there's I think there's a famous interview of Elon Musk calling a journalist the biggest moron because the employees of SpaceX are paid in stock, in SpaceX stock. And the reason I posit that it might be a con in the long term is because SpaceX just decided, well, no, we're not going public.
Oh,
And
exactly.
they are still paying
Those options are not
people.
tradable.
Right. Well, they probably can trade them inside SpaceX from one employee to another.
Oh, but that's
Maybe
whatever.
even outside. I'm not sure because that's the problem. I think they're kind of pushing the limits of the law there. But regardless, people are being paid in some units that are called SpaceX stock.
well. So that's why
But
I
it's
wanted
not.
to get
But
to
it's yeah.
with the this is important word the definition the difference
Yeah,
between
put the microphone.
the difference between an option and a share is an option is like a pre-order. Think of it.
Right. Yeah.
It's a share that doesn't exist yet because the
Right.
company isn't public yet.
Yeah.
So you're paying from what you've just described,
Right.
and my understanding is you've just paid your employees in Disney dollars, and
Right.
with the expectation that
Yeah.
maybe if you do a good job and you're a good boy or girl, you can maybe make it big off of this.
Well,
Like,
but the thing about that is people are told they are paid. People are paid in SpaceX stock, but now you have to put the air quotes and say whatever that means now, because
Right.
it's not a stock option, and who knows what the intent is. It's not, SpaceX is not publicly traded, and there's I don't think there is an independent evaluator that can say, well, the value of the share is this or something. The only independent evaluator is the market. Now, yes, there are valuators out there, people that are like Morgan Stanley Research or some other big companies that can come in and put a value to your company. But I don't believe that process is meant to be a forever process. That's a process for a short term. Here's where you start, kind of like.
Oh yeah, no. It's not updated in
right.
Some it's the way it works is it's an appraisal.
Even if it's updated, those people are not the market.
Yeah,
they're not the people that are buying shares and selling shares. The market's the one that determines the value. So, like let's say this, like SpaceX has the big Falcon, what is the Starship rocket, right? You have the Starship rocket, you launch, and then you come back with the first stage and you catch it with the big claws on that tower. Well, when that is successful, the shares of SpaceX should have shot through the roof.
Right.
Should have been a very big jump. But there isn't any jump. Actually, I don't know. I should say this. I don't know if there was a big jump or not. But really,
we can't know because it's a closed circuit.
Right.
The only trading you do is intra-company.
Not only we can't know, even if there is a jump in value, that jump doesn't account for the psychological effect of the market, right? That's the one thing that nobody can predict. It could be a gold rush if it would be at the stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ or whatever. Those shares could have gone 1,000-fold. What's stopping them from doing that?
And this is already the greater context of this is that the stock market is already a very private, closed system, right? The stock market, as it stands, is very inaccessible to most people. Almost all of the stocks are owned by like maybe 100, 200 people in the U.S. And this is already on top of.
I don't know, the 200 people. It might be more than that. I mean, people.
No,
most
of them are owned. They're not owned by individual day traders. Individual day traders own almost next to nothing relative to what.
Well, but if you go on Robinhood, for example, there is millions of users of Robinhood.
Yeah, but they each own maybe like a share of like Nvidia, maybe.
Yeah, they buy
like
3 shares
nothing.
of Nvidia. But in the end, the shares of the companies are not owned only by 200 people. The majority of them might be owned.
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So on top of that, it's now an even more closed system that's even less publicly accountable.
Right. So now it's not even. You're at the whims of.
You're at the whims of literally just Elon. Because he's CEO,
possibly,
and there's no SEC, there's no board of executives, there's
nobody's.
He makes every single shot at that company, to my understanding. He has anyway, that lady that's the chief engineer.
What we're saying is, if you work for SpaceX and you need help, blink.
If you work at SpaceX, what are you doing right now?
Do this.
Yeah, you need to go look for work, man.
No, it's fine. Let's not disparage. SpaceX is doing great, and they're doing a great job. And Elon Musk is a genius.
My heart goes out to all the SpaceX employees.
Oh no! Oh my God!
Can we include that?
So harsh. That is harsh. All right. Anyway, yeah. So that's one way. You can do a post-capitalist startup con. You tell people that you're going to pay them stock, and then you will pay them some sort of a cryptocurrency for which the only control is in your hands. You control what the value of that cryptocurrency is, and that way, but you tell people, hey, it's called stock. Haktua,
it's some
coin
it's a grift.
Stuff, yeah.
It's a grift because
it's one way to alleviate and diverge from the market, from the capitalist, real free market capitalism. Another way to do it is by means of bringing in a majority investor, which again, I don't know how that works, but a lot of the companies go the route of SPAC, special acquisition, special purpose acquisition company or something. SPAC? Yeah, SPAC is special.
Are you sure you're not talking about
purpose.
Super PAC?
No, it's called SPAC, Special Purpose Acquisition Company, if I believe. And so basically, you have a little startup that has a good, a little good product. You make whatever ice cream cones, and you can do that automated and all of that. But instead of going IPO, you talk to Chamat or Argan or some other name, and then they or Gary, and then you get a little. They bring in a few $1 billion. And now your company, instead of just being that little company that makes cones, it's a company that's $2.5 billion. You go to the stock exchange, and what I've understood is in this process, the nominal value of the stock of the employees stays the same, but as the company goes to become a stock exchange traded company, you don't get that 100-fold of your stock. You get maybe 10-fold, maybe 5-fold. So instead of $1,000, you get $5,000. Whoop-de-doo. You've worked day and night, weekends, and everybody's told you, you're gonna, if you work really hard, you're gonna become a millionaire. And then when time comes, here's $5,000. What? You don't like $5,000? You only put in $1,000. That was your bonus. That was the value of your effort.
Massive appreciation.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's fivefold. What?
Wow.
Yeah. Amazing. That's a good investment. So you can do that if you want to do a startup con. It's perfectly legal. People have done this several times, and it's going really well for some folks. Some folks
not
get the door, get the boot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's important for everyone who thinks that who maybe is inclined to think that is a unacceptable thing. Well, what? You're still getting paid. You're just part of your wages are going to this highly volatile. If you win, you win big. If you lose, you lose. You can make the argument that
Yeah.
that's how capitalism is supposed to work.
Yeah.
But I think it's
What you can, if you don't believe me, if you think that going to work for a startup is a good idea and it reflects the values of capitalism, go to YouTube and watch We Crash, which is the movie about a famous startup, WeWork. But watch it and push to the side the drama of the main characters in the company and look at the company from the perspective of the employees, the people that have gone there and have spent day and night, and have had to jump through hoops and were promised a big payoff. And you'll see in the end how only the people at the top have managed to keep a good amount of their money. But the employees, I remember specifically, there was a lady that, because the what's interesting about that company is that it almost went public, and then they pulled it back. And there was an employee, a lady employee, and it's just a fictional employee, but the story is relevant for her. There was a lady employee who, the night before the public IPO, she bought a purse for, I believe, $82,000, a Louis Vuitton. I don't know what kind of leather. I don't know why it was so expensive, but she really wanted it. And then I agree. She was a little capricious, trying to buy such an expensive. But she just, it was one of those purchases that, I'm going to be a multimillionaire. I'm going to be able to afford the purse for $82,000, and I want everybody to be jealous or whatever. Yeah, it was a vanity for sure, and she got her lesson.
She was jumping the gun.
Yeah, she got her lesson, but, at the same time, somebody didn't keep their promise. Somebody broke their word and broke their commitment, and lied. So sorry if
and contractually there's nothing obligating them to do that.
No.
You have to take their fake money,
and
you have to, and because of the nature of the fact that they're startups, and a lot of businesses nowadays are startups. A lot of people, from my understanding, a lot of people are signing off on the whole, especially now with the layoff situation and all that, all of what's going on in the big tech companies. Most tech companies nowadays are startups, which means they're not covered by the National Labor Relations Board, and there is no expectation of the right to a union. There is no expectation of a right to, if you are exploited contractually or outside of the bounds of your contract, there's nothing protecting you under Section 7 of the American Labor Relations Act.
All right. Yeah. So anyway.
You have to take their money, and they can choose not to make their money worth anything.
Yeah.
And they control all the agency in that situation.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest with you, I believe that I'm not naming names of companies or CEOs or anything, but I am telling you that people that pay with the Disney dollar type of currency, I'm not saying, maybe I shouldn't even say that. The people the companies that pay in stock option, air quote, stock options, and then are never going public. I think the long con is they get everybody used to the idea of CBDC, because that's what it is. It's a programmable cryptocurrency. It's not a central bank yet, but it's right there. It can be your if I get paid in stock options, again, air quote stock options. What's to stop the CEO of that company to differentiate between my stock options and your stock options? There's nothing stopping them from doing that. If we both get 1,000 options, but then he doesn't like the way I looked at him one day, he can decide that my stock options are worth half of yours, even though we have nominally the same value.
Yeah.
He can make that decision because there's nothing stopping them from doing that.
No.
So it can be programmable. At that point, there's nothing that, and I know I sound accusatory, but I don't think that I'm not the smartest man. I'm not even close to being in the top 1 billion smartest people in the world. If I can think it, somebody else thought it before. I'm not the first one to think of these things. I'm probably the last one, if not maybe some of the last people to think of these things. So yeah, I'm a moron, but
whatever.
Yeah,
Like if
this is
you
what I
can
think.
think about that, someone else
yeah,
with infinitely more power to execute it than you have.
somebody is probably already executing it.
Yeah.
It's already executed. They're already executing it, and it's gonna. I don't know, unless somebody stands up for the truth, for the some kind of values somewhere. Anyway, I'm not gonna. I think people got my point. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, SPACs, all the other stuff. Good. All right. I think we're still recording. We're good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're good.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about, do you want to do the Michael Parenti stuff first, or what's your?
We can leave that for the end. For those of you who don't know,
It's just the
prominent American economist and professor, and I guess you would call him a philosopher, Michael Parenti, who is a very, very, I think very, very astute contemporary academic on the left, passed away last month, and I had to read him for one of my university courses, and I think very highly of his work. It's very rare that you see. I think I'll go into more details later, but he's a very populist member of the left camp, and I admire that greatly, because I think a lot of contemporary academics on the left stray more towards a party model as opposed to people, and I think he was one of the few that kind of went against that. And I'll talk, but yeah, so he, rest in peace, Michael Parenti. God bless you, and we'll talk more about that at the end, because I have some things I want to say. But yeah, what's up next?
So I wanted to talk about the 2 movies that have been posted on YouTube. One of them is AlphaGo, which was posted, says here, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It has 37 million views. AlphaGo, the movie, is a documentary that presents.
Really quick, I had notes on my phone. Do you present this? I'm gonna go get a charger from my phone because I have notes on here.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, we're back.
We are.
So, AlphaGo, the AlphaGo, the movie, is a documentary that it's a documentary that presents a company called DeepMind. DeepMind is now part of Google, and it's a company. DeepMind is a company that deals or is trying to program an artificial intelligence. They're researching how to solve artificial general intelligence, where computer system can behave in a general intelligent way. And there's a lot of obviously there you have to be part of that environment to know the difference between an algorithm and an artificial intelligence, and what is an artificial general intelligence, and all kinds of models, and there's all sorts of different definitions and details of all of this. But instead, what I would like to do, I would like to go through a few timestamps of the movie, and then we comment on those scenes and those sequences. So the first one is the European champion in Go. Go is the game played in South Korea. It sounds like it's the most complex game developed by humans for boards. And the challenge is that the artificial intelligence beat any gamer, any Go champion. So the European champion, which is a Go player of 2 Dan, 2P is the ranking, goes and play and loses to the artificial intelligence, to AlphaGo. And so the first scene is this European champion is a Chinese national who emigrated to France, Bordeaux, and they found him, and they asked him to play AlphaGo, and he lost. So that's the first scene here. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not. They did that, and then after they beat the guy, they make the announcement on TV. That's why they make the announcement on TV that AlphaGo just beat the champion, the human champion.
Artificial intelligence researchers has solved the game of Go a decade earlier than expected. The computer, named AlphaGo, was able to beat the European human champion.
Artificial intelligence researchers have made a significant breakthrough.
It really is a big leap forward.
There's a big difference between the way the IBM computer beat Kasparov, which was programmed by expert chess player.
So they did that. That's the first achievement for them. And then because they beat that person, they went to South Korea and challenged a 9-dan champion, who is also, I don't think he is the world champion, but he is like ranked number 3 or 2. The reason they didn't, and they're not showing in this movie, the world champion is a Chinese individual, but you'll see in a sequel to the documentary, they will go and challenge that person, and you'll see what happens at that time. But right now they're playing Lee Sedol, who is the South Korean champion and maybe ranked number 3 in the world. His ranking is 9-dan. The first one was 2-dan. Now it's 9-dan.
A match like no other is about to get underway in South Korea.
Lee Sedol, the long-reigning global champ. This guy is a genius. Will take on artificial intelligence program AlphaGo and the ultimate human versus machine smackdown.
This is a huge moment for both the world of artificial intelligence and I think the world of Go. So far, AlphaGo has beaten every challenge we've given it.
So Lee Sedol will play AlphaGo. And although initially Lee Sedol is very confident that he's going to win against AlphaGo, he will lose. Again, the movie is five years old, and there's no spoiler alert or anything. And it's a documentary. It's a documentary, so I hope nobody don't listen to the podcast if you want to watch this on the edge of your seat. However, in the movie, at some point, a character emerges. Who is the gentleman with the glasses that's sitting down with his hand with the elbow on the table? That is Eric Schmidt, the former Google CEO, and the Pentagon. I believe right now Eric Schmidt is Pentagon liaison. I know at some point he did. He's an American businessman. He held a position. What? Is he now the CEO of Relativity Space? Good God.
Even he didn't know how fucking bad it got.
I didn't know this, but...
He's former executive chairman of parent company Alphabet Inc.
Right, yeah, but at some point, he became the liaison for the Pentagon, between Pentagon and the big tech. If I remember correctly.
No, it was up.
Was it? Did you see Pentagon there, or?
Schmidt was founded the Special Competitive Studies Project. Schmidt has had a major influence on the Biden administration's science policy after 2021, especially shaping policies on AI. First chair of U.S. National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, while keeping shares of Alphabet stock worth over $5.3 billion in 2019.
Yeah,
you want to talk about a conflict of interest.
Nothing to see there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
No, yeah, nothing to see. But anyway, I thought he was at some point Anyway, there's a lot of stuff. But there you go. He is now hanging out. He was at the time when they were playing in South Korea. He was hanging out with these folks. And he was interested in how DeepMind, the company that programmed AlphaGo, how DeepMind is, I guess, performing as a company. And we'll see him again later, but we'll move on now to the next scene where they show a little bit under the hood of AlphaGo.
Yeah, but Lee's also playing much slower today. Which is kind of affect us. He's playing at half the speed actually.
서로가 뭐 이렇게 재밌다, 누가 좋다 이렇게 얘기하기는 힘들 것 같습니다. 나왔던 두 수를 보면은 알파고가 굉장히 또 약한 느낌이 드는데
이런 거에 또 방심을 하면 안 되거든요.
저도 감이 지금 안 잡히는데요.
Well, if I say anything about AlphaGo that is not normal, is maybe the way it handles a game when it thinks it is ahead.
Yes, we're actually going to have a visit from one of the team, and we'll talk about exactly that point from the inside. Thanks so much for coming by, Thor. I really appreciate it. Can you sort of share a bit of what is going on in AlphaGo?
So AlphaGo has these three
So
components.
you didn't see the,
which is trained on high-level games to imitate those players. And then we have a second component. We call this the value net. And it can evaluate the board position.
Oh, so yeah, machine learning. That's what this is, right?
well, it's artificial intelligence, whatever that means.
Different variations of the game and try to figure out what will happen in the future. So if we now take a position like this, first the policy network would scan the position and come up with what would
So this is what we're going to compete against in the future. Or I guess what they're telling us is that these are our future servants. There's going to be so much abundance and everybody's going to own a robot that does this kind of analysis and plays reality in such a sophisticated and complex way. Let's see.
For us, AlphaGo is obviously just some computer program. But looking at the commentary on the internet, I already saw the commentators call AlphaGo like he and she during the games, completely unconsciously, which...
So yeah, we're gonna start looking at these intelligence, artificial intelligence, and assign gender to it, and
assigning
some people
traits.
are gonna be falling in love with it, and
that already happened.
Yeah.
One of the big obstacles.
That's another thing we can touch on.
How AI might impact the world in the future. For example, the conversation is about what could go wrong, like what the risks are. Then invariably you see this Terminator picture. Every single time there are these red glowing eyes, right?
We're really closer to a smart wash machine than Terminator. If you look at today's AI, we are really very nascent.
Shut the fuck up. I really wish people would stop downselling AI's capability like this.
Yeah,
like downplaying. It's not that bad. It's pretty stupid and harmless.
Yeah. The one thing that is relevant in the movie that I think, the funny part is that these people are trying to present themselves in a positive way, and they present the company.
They're trying to be humble. They're trying to be modest.
Yeah. Except that the truth comes out, regardless. The truth sips through the little pores of their thick skin until it comes out, and they can't help themselves to show their their true colors. And you'll see, because this movie, like I said, it has a sequel. But one thing that they in this initial movie, one thing they start using the term the God move. So in AlphaGo, certain moves, certain positions that you play in the initial stages seem irrelevant and almost insignificant to the state of the game at that time. But as the game progresses, those insignificant moves become huge plays. And so the Lee Sedol, the South Korean champion, lost 3 games in a row. It was 3-0. And in the 4th game, he plays a move that is a move that these obviously scientists that know a lot about the world, they believe that that is a move that only 1 in 10,000 people would be making that move. And for them, that is the God move. Can you be more full of yourself to call it? Oh, yeah. I know what God would do.
It's more just like that's an insane.
And by the way, God is 1 in 10,000 humans. That's the definition now.
Well, it's that one. Yeah. I get what they're, because you see this in chess as well. Because I don't know about this game, but I've watched a lot of Stockfish. The closest thing I can compare this to is Stockfish is a 3,500 rated chess AI, and it routinely makes moves that if any human, Magnus Carlsen, the best human player of chess right now, one of the things he stated,
these are not human moves.
Stockfish will make moves that would get you immediately flagged at any FIDE, right? FIDE chess championship. Like, it would immediately get you, and it's the same thing here. It's moves that would not be understandable by humans. But you are right. It is the terminology is a little bit.
I understand it's a rare move. 1 in 10,000. 1 in 10,000 probability. It just makes it a rare move in my mind.
1 in 10,000.
For you to call it the God move is kind of an arrogant. Not.
It would mean a little less than a million people. A little less than what, 1 billion people on Earth.
So what? That's not a God move.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And then what are we doing now? We're gonna. What is it? What if it's a 1 in 5,000? 1 in 100,000. Is that a St. Peter move now? What are we doing? Like, what is
Pope
it?
John Paul move?
Right? Yeah, Pope Benedict.
Do you think that's what's going on? Is it some like new like language programming?
I think that I believe 100% that without realizing they are self NLP. They're programming themselves now. They're talking in terms that, by the way, all these nerds that are programming this computer, this artificial intelligence, I bet you actually have no idea what spirituality means. They probably have gone a few classes of mindfulness and they think, yeah, I'm in touch with my Holy Spirit and I know what being a spiritual person is. Shut up. You have a handicap because you've spent too much time in front of a TV. Leave the monitor, go outside, get in touch with nature for many years, and then come back and talk about God moves and Like
Well,
this
I
is
think-
so arrogant and so stupid at the same time. Like, and you'll see, like later you'll see
Yeah.
later. This is not. I'm being overreactive now because I know what's coming. So it's okay. You'll see. Like,
Okay.
this is.
I was about to say you're
Yeah.
going a little hard on the
Right.
because I understand what they're saying is like there's moves
Yeah.
that AI will make that seem like terrible moves to a human, or that a human just the best human in the world.
I'm
the
not denying that.
0.01% of humans would not be able to see.
I'm not denying that these systems are not gonna give us an insight into how something, a game or a tool or some other process can be used or can be engaged with in a totally different way than the paradigm that exists today. Absolutely, yeah. That's the utility of that is fine. By the way, also, just so you know, I am not 100% sure that artificial intelligence showing us a new way to play Go is desirable. The reason being, if humanity would establish that it needs a new way of playing, it would come out. Out of 9 billion people today, it would come out. If it doesn't come out, it's because we probably don't need it. It's not that important, is what I'm saying. Like, stop. Yeah, oh, right. Great. You found a new way to play Go. So? Is there less poverty in the world? When are you going to get to the real problems of the world? When is this going to pay off? Because right now, by the way, I'm seeing a guy who ate a burger in the morning, and his brain not only beats Go in one game, but also takes care of this guy's heart, takes care of this guy's vision, helps him move his hands to coordinate, to put the pieces on the table, takes care of his breathing. And by the way, all it needs, that brain, is a burrito in the morning. How much energy did the other team spend to win the games? How many computers did you plug in? How many people had to monitor those computers, each of them with their own burrito and their own thing? In the end, I know you're going to come up with the system that does a little better than the humans in terms of its performance to do something.
Yeah, but if you scale that performance relative to the energy,
the cost of doing that is 10-fold, 20-fold. What's the point? That's why you need, like humans, I need 2 glasses of water. I need 2 liters of water a day to be really healthy. How many liters do you need for your
Oh, dude, they need tens of thousands of gallons of cooling every month. There's right now the entire world, for most people watching this will probably be aware, there's a global GPU and RAM shortage. There's a global production of RAM has gone down to, I think, a fourth of what it was.
Well, it's probably up, but it's all bought by the people that need
that's
it.
what I'm saying. All of these OpenAI, these people, probably DeepMind, whatever, all these AI corporatist grifters are buying up the entire global supply of computer hardware, and now there's none left for everyone else.
No.
64 gigs of RAM is $1,000.
Yeah.
GPUs, half of the companies that produce GPUs now are out of business. They can't sell to the rest of the market. They were all bought out. It's for this kind of whatever. Like, this isn't even you're right. This is for you to be able to beat
this is what I'm saying.
human at a human game, which is not even like a relevant. What does this do? Except
bullshit.
It destroys a game.
Yeah.
That was developed as an intellectual exercise and a leisure activity for humans.
Yeah.
You've destroyed that at the cost of
and you'll see
millions of dollars of opportunity cost damage for no reason.
Another great thing that AlphaGo movie is bringing up, again, they're trying to sell us into, look how great artificial intelligence is, but if you look at it straight in the eye and look at it and take it as it is, it's actually the opposite almost. The other thing that the movie is pointing to is the fact that, and let's watch the sequence first.
It's a move that looks lazy. You can see these other better moves, and AlphaGo is rejecting them. But what I think AlphaGo is teaching us is that we've been using score as a proxy for chance of winning. So the bigger my margin of territory, the more confident I am that I'm going to win. And AlphaGo is saying, no. It shouldn't matter how much you win by. You only need to win by a single point. Why should I be seizing all this extra territory when I don't need it? The lessons that AlphaGo is teaching us are going to influence how Go is played for the next 1,000 years.
So, this is a great conclusion that anybody watching this movie can draw. We've always looked at the more money I have, that means I'm more certain to win. When in fact, that's not true. There can be, by this game, by the paradigm of the paradigm presented here, you could envision a system, an economical system, where in order for you to win a game, you don't need to win by a lot. The reason in history, the reason you want to win by a lot is because when you win by a lot, it means you're more certain that you're going to come out a winner. But so Alexander the Great goes and conquers Persia and takes all the gold and all the purple fabric from Persia and moves it all to the west, to Greece.
Yeah.
So, no. You don't need to do that. That doesn't mean anything. In the end, by the way, he didn't win. He died young and stupid. He was not an old, wise king that lived a full life and can tell us all the secrets that he's encountered. He just went like a little meteor, popped through the sound barrier, and then crashed. Whoop-de-doo. Great. I think Ptolemy, his general, won more because at least Ptolemy lived until his old age and became a pharaoh.
Yeah, exactly.
Heck yeah. The dude, didn't he win? That's the guy that won. Not Alexander the Great. Yeah, everybody talks about him because, Julius Caesar cried at his statue. Everybody wants to. Hermann Goering was talking about him in the movie.
Nonsense.
Yeah, it's not a win. He didn't win.
I guess it also depends on what you mean by. Well, winning is set up by your objectives. Technically, his objective was he was going to conquer Persia, and he succeeded.
Yeah, but he didn't keep it. Yeah. If he died so young, he didn't keep it. And I don't know if the people afterward I'm not that good with the history.
That's a...
Yeah, he won a few battles.
His territories were fractured by his generals afterward.
That doesn't mean anything, really, in the end.
They couldn't agree on the line of succession.
Yeah, right.
So...
because of him. Because at on the deathbed, he said to the strongest or to the something like when they were asking, "Hey, who should take over?"
Some stoicist
to this
nonsense
to the most powerful. All right, let's chop each other's head off. Great.
For what purpose? For what purpose?
For nothing. Yeah. All right. Okay, I have another sequence here.
It's the culmination of a 20-year dream.
It started as a pure research endeavor. We just wanted to understand, can neural networks play the game of Go? And from there, it went on to
these guys have been working on this for 20 years.
Unbelievable.
I think Lee Sedol was also 20 years. He ate a burrito every day. These guys ate 20 burritos every day. That's
in terms of energy input.
You just did like.
Well, okay. This is what I do want to. This is the technology in its infant stages. This is 5 years ago, and it's gotten a lot better since then.
Sure, I'll show you how much better it got. I mean, do you see anybody mowing the lawn? Do you see anybody pumping the gas?
No.
Do you see anybody mining the copper in Congo? No, it's still humans. They're not doing it.
They can generate really terrible artwork.
Yeah. And create a huge shortage on chips and
water and RAM and GPUs
and electricity.
Yes, it's a giant strain on the power grid as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. It started as a pure research endeavor.
I remember hearing a talk by Kasparov, who says that a good human plus a machine is the best combination.
This is a unique experience. Nobody can have this experience. Play with AlphaGo 5 games like this. So, I help.
What are you proud of, man?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, in your little 0-1 world, you hit something incredible, I'm sure. In your mind, it feels like you've done something.
이번 경험을 통해서 조금 더 성숙했다고 생각하기 때문에 그걸 정리 잘해서 앞으로 또 발전할 수 있도록.
That dude is creepy as F.
Kasparov?
No, the dude that just talked.
Oh, I don't know.
And Kasparov too. Kasparov is really
Gary Kasparov.
Yeah, he went downhill. He lost his mind a little bit. I've heard some strange things about him. He got into politics. He got into
really.
Oh yeah. He's out there.
Know that.
Yeah. All right. So then they made a sequel to that movie because it was so good. It was well received. You can say that because it had 37 million views in 5 years. This sequel has, what is it, 400 million views since November 25th,
390 mil.
So in a few months, it's got 400 almost views. And it kind of it's not a sequel in the sense that now it goes on to show what happened after the AlphaGo. It kind of brings it back to AlphaGo. It seems to me like somebody, and you'll see who, was a little unhappy that he wasn't featured a few more minutes in the movie. So so he got to play a more central role in the whole thing. So yeah, let's do the first scene, the pitch, the elevator pitch talk.
Okay, we're going to try to do artificial general intelligence. It may not even be possible. We're not quite sure how we're going to do it, but we have some ideas of the kind of approaches. Huge amounts of money, huge amounts of risk, lots and lots of compute. And if we pull this off, it'll be the biggest thing ever, right? That is a very hard thing for a typical individual.
All right, That's the
Dude, it'll be
that's
the biggest
pitch.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Grok will be able to generate child porn on Twitter.
Right.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna solve. You tell us. Well, I should say this. By the end of the movie, the sequel, I was a little conflicted about because they did something right. They're not completely wrong. But let's watch and let's go
we are being
through.
cynical. Let's go into this with a more neutral
Right.
perspective.
In 2014, announcement.
Google has bought DeepMind for a reported £400 million, making the artificial intelligence firm its largest European acquisition so far. The company was founded by 37-year-old entrepreneur
Demis Hassabis, or Hassabis, is the founder and CEO of Google DeepMind. In 2014, Google acquired them for £400 million, which is more than $400 million, probably $500 million. A little bit of random thoughts.
Go is the pinnacle of board games. It's the most complex game ever devised by man. There are more possible board configurations in the game of Go than there are atoms in the universe.
Go is the holy grail of artificial intelligence. For many years, people have looked at this game and they've thought, wow, this is just too hard. Everything we've ever tried.
So, do you see, like, these guys are really deep in their heads. That's what I think. It has more combinations than the number of atoms in the universe. Yeah, dude, so what? The number of atoms in the universe can be explained by the 2 power to the 516, right? If you have all those combinations on a board, you don't even need that big of a board, all right? The famous, I guess, equivalent is when the man who invented the game of chess went to the king. The king said, "What is the reward you want?" And the man said, "For each square on the board,
rice,
I want 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 2, plus
3, and then he bankrupted that
And then the king said yes, because he thought, well, it's how many, whatever, go give him. And then he turned out he asked for the crop for 3 years in grain.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking for people that don't understand math. Like, yeah, dude, you can quickly go to the 2 to the power of 516 is, I believe, the number of atoms in the universe. Okay, so what?
Yeah,
there's bigger boards than this. There's smaller boards than this. What? And why is that important? Like, what they just blurred out
again. All of it's
They're
all
all- yeah.
obfuscation for the fact this isn't providing any utility to humans.
It will. I will say this. It will at the end, but
right now
there's going to be the cost is going to be huge, and also, just like everything else, yeah, we've got something positive without really providing any solutions. All right. And also, we're just looking at this solution because we're too dumb to realize that there could be other solutions to that problem.
Yeah.
And you'll see what I'm talking about at the end. All right. Okay. 1631. So the next scenes are with the actor that didn't get enough screen time last time, so I guess he asked for a little more exposure to the glass.
Negotiated a better contract.
Least at all. Is going to beat these guys, but they'll make a good showing. Good for a startup.
All right, good for a startup.
and learn from its errors.
This is interesting.
You're all right, folks.
Why would you, in a documentary, you put Eric Schmidt saying...
Because it's propaganda.
Interesting.
It's the same as that stupid fucking picture of Hassabis with the dumb ass hat on. That hat would be funny if I wore it. If I wore, because I'm a dumb fucking idiot. It's all propaganda because it's all trying to humanize and dumb down technocratic fascism. That's what they're doing.
Next is when they beat Lee Sedol the first time.
Lee Sedol has just resigned.
He's beaten.
Again, why these cut to Eric Schmidt?
It's reality television.
Interesting.
It's reality television.
He got beat up. Whoa. What's gonna be next? I wonder. It's like,
the choice of score too. The choice of score.
Yeah.
Like it's all an effort to dramatize and make relatable something inhuman.
Google put its Deep Mind team to the test against one of the brightest minds in the world and won.
That's when we realized the DeepMind people knew what they were doing and to pay attention to reinforcement learning as they had invented it.
Notice the story arcing, the storyboard of this. These guys, DeepMind, are being presented as underdogs. The narrative tone is that they're like the stupid chicken little idiot at the beginning of the story.
They
and
come
then
with
they're like, oh, damn, we're really getting smoked out by this Lee Sedol guy. We're getting screwed. We gotta train. We gotta do a Rocky montage. You guys are owned by Google. You guys were acquired by Google for 400 million pounds. So what, $700 million roughly?
No, maybe $500 million. But regardless, $500 million.
$500 million fucking. You guys are not the underdogs.
No.
Lee Sedol is some guy who lives in a Seoul apartment. And he's fucking.
He's going out for a smoke when he lost. He's going out for like, dude.
That's the underdog. Don't present these guys as the underdogs.
Yeah, but they are. Yeah. Let's see next.
Based on that experience, AlphaGo got better and better and better. And they had a little chart of how much better they were getting.
How much better they were getting.
And Demis said, when we beat the Chinese guy, the top rated player in the world.
It's too much winning. And you're going to say it's too much winning.
Yeah, pay attention. When does it stop?
Just stop. And Demis said, when we beat the Chinese guy.
Which, by the way, dude, I want to say this.
Racist,
can you guys, when you come up with a new tool, with a new invention, can you not take it so warrior mode? Like, why don't you reach out to Chinese guy and say, hey, man, you want to come over? Let's figure this out together, and you'll take some of this research and we'll share. And we're all humans. Why do you have to go? You know what? We got to beat that Chinese guy. What the hell, man? Like, can you stop with that shit? Nobody's gonna go to beat any. It's just, this is what I'm talking about. Even though they're trying to paint themselves in a positive way, look at us, look, we're doing exciting things. The ugliness and the true colors come through.
Yeah,
they sip
because
through,
it's propaganda,
and it's all just dark matter, just stupid shit. In the end, it's still monkey brain.
And what they're again, they're painting themselves into this underdog character of like after it has the same narrative structure as Rocky, right?
Yeah.
The loser bricklayer
right.
works his way up through the ranks and climbs to be the best guy at the world.
And he beats the Russian who has machines training him and shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, dude. He also trained in Siberia, cutting logs, and he's not different than you. You know?
No.
Stupid. And so they go to Wuhan, China,
player in the world.
where the champion, the world champion.
I think we will see AlphaGo pushing through there.
AlphaGo is ahead quite a bit.
And then little slowly,
The best player was not doing so well.
What can Black do here?
Looks difficult.
no, this
And at a critical moment,
okay, yeah, this one.
the Chinese government ordered the feed cut off.
Yeah.
It was at that
So
moment.
the Chinese top player, again, he had a bowl of rice or some noodles in the morning, and that's all he needs, and 2 glasses of water, and he's thinking against a machine that is powered by a 2,000 watts generator, probably even more, 20,000 watts generator, because that's how much those laptops burn. Monitored by a team of 20 people. Each of them ate well, drank well.
The materials
but it's
extracted
like,
to build that laptop
right.
required.
It's not a laptop. It's they don't have a laptop. The AlphaGo is on 20 different laptops and a big rack in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody has, and they have all these monitors to show graphs of how well it's predicting it's going to do and how just nonsense, you know. All right.
Looks difficult.
And
at a critical moment, the Chinese government ordered the feed cut off. It was at that moment.
yeah, because you know why they did? Probably because they realized, dude, these guys are seeing this as a form of propaganda. They're not
Oh, it
looking
is.
at this.
It is.
They're not
They're
looking at this.
propagandizing.
Yeah, they realize these guys are.
It's a
actually,
foreign
they're just,
private
right.
company coming
They're
to
trying
propagandize
right.
in China.
Yeah. And so they cut it off because you were an asshole. That's why. Because they were assholes about it. Yeah, they cut it off. I'm not saying, yeah, great. You know, I'm sure the Chinese government is not all a saint government. I'm just saying,
Definitely not.
when you go to another country to beat another guy to shit, like, yeah, we got to beat the Chinese guy. Well, they might not want to play. They might want to say, like, wait a minute, what the hell? Who approved this? You know? Cut it off, dude. What is this? 20 people with a massive 5 trucks of computers come to beat one of our guys, and we're just going to watch? We're going to sit and watch? Would you accept that from China? Would you accept China to come over with 5 trucks, computers, and say, hey, whomever, New York, whatever, champion in chess, do you want to play with us? We're going to beat your ass. You're going to say no, dude. Get the fuck out of here. So after they beat with AlphaGo, they took it as far as they could.
Sure.
With the number 1 in the world. They cut the feed off and they got kicked out probably. They came back to London and they started AlphaZero, a new project, which was meant to play StarCraft StarCraft, I believe. So
sure,
there's been a big chain of events that followed on from all of the excitement of AlphaGo.
But what I wanted to say is, just to introduce people, AlphaZero is called AlphaZero because they completely scrapped AlphaGo. They gave up on everything because they realized something. They realized that AlphaGo had a lot of its model. The learning was based on human experience. They didn't let AlphaGo learn on its own. So they didn't tell AlphaGo, listen, all you need to do is this. Ding, ding, ding. You need to get as much island, blah, blah, blah. And you win when you get more territory than the opponent. And then go and learn as much as you can. And what they should have done, they should have said, okay, let it learn. And it would learn in the first 200 games, it would barely learn something. And then in the first 1,000 games, you would see it starting to make sense. And then in 10,000 games, it would get really good. And then in 100,000 games, it would be the best in the world, you know? But it would be best based on its own learning. From zero, it would be just machine learning. It would have no human inputs. That's what they should have done. So AlphaZero is basically going to do that.
Played against Lisa Doll, we actually had a system that had been trained on human data, on all of the millions of games that had been played by human experts. We eventually found a new algorithm, a much more elegant approach to the whole system, which actually stripped out all of the human knowledge and just started completely from scratch. And that became a project which we called AlphaZero. Zero meaning having zero human knowledge in the loop.
Zero human knowledge in the loop. All right.
Okay.
Now,
it's amazing. It's amazing. It's discovered
I just like I like this sequence where this guy repeats amazing, amazing. You know, like you understand, like these two guys are talking to each other, but they know there's a camera there. So this dude with the back to the camera, he's trying to get screen time. And so he's trying to say really positive things so that when they edit the montage at the end, they will include his something. That's why. That's the whole. It's amazing, amazing, beautiful, and tremendous. And shit. So it was just I saw this and I was like, dude, why are you repeating amazing? It's amazing. And then I realized, that's why he wants to be on the screen. He wants to be on the glass. All right.
Horrible.
So now in this second movie, for some reason, these guys went at some point a little strange. Let's watch.
At the time, I was the second highest rated chess player in the world for my age. But although I was on track to be a professional chess player, I thought that was what I was going to do. No matter how much I loved the game, it was incredibly stressful. Definitely was not fun and games for me. My parents used to, I'd get very upset when I lost the game and angry if I forgot something, and because it was quite high stakes for them. It was cost a lot of money to go to these tournaments, and my parents didn't have much money. My parents thought, if you're interested in being a chess professional, this is really important. It's like your exams. I remember.
So then, that's another problem. Like, if you're trying to do something good, and I'm not saying, like, I feel for the guy. He went through some childhood pressure. His parents put pressure on him to do this. But also, like, what? You're angry that he didn't get a move right, and because you spent money on the train tickets? Like, that sounds a little abusive for...
Oh, very much so. Like some real Tiger Mom shit.
Like, yeah, Tiger Mom is the word. Yes, that's true. But it's going a little further, so buckle up.
I was about 12 years old, and I was at this international chess tournament in Lichtenstein, up in the mountains.
You realize this is animation that they made for this documentary.
Yeah.
They paid some graphics dudes.
Yeah.
Some artists to present what was in his mind. And look what's in his mind.
And we were in this huge church hall with hundreds of international chess players. And I was playing the ex-Danish champion.
He's the only human. He's the only human in the gathering. Everybody else is a monster, like zombie, White Walker type of dude. Is this the guy that's gonna save the planet from something? He's
Well, yeah,
by the
it's
way,
a dramatization.
by the way,
again.
AGI is a weapon. AGI is a weapon. You'll see later they even make a parallel between this guy and Oppenheimer. And right now, yeah.
my God.
And right now, this is what's in his mind. This is what happens in his mind.
Jesus Christ!
Keep watching.
In those days, there was a long time.
Look at his opponent.
We were into our 10th hour.
What's up with the who came up like we should this was
It's all an effort. It's like this too, where it's Hassabis versus this big brawlic fucking dude, because they really want to be seen as underdog. Humans resonate with underdogs, and they want to be put as we're relatable and meek and weak, and we can't do anything, and we're trying really hard. We're trying really hard to scrape together this project. And look how abused my upbringing was. Look how sad. Don't you feel bad for me? Don't you think I should have more money?
I
'Cause
feel
you
bad
so
for him.
bad
I'm not.
I feel bad for him too.
I feel bad, but the problem is what's really upsetting me, and what I'm really interested in conveying here. This is how he sees the world. He sees the world as he being the human, and his opponents are the others. The people that he played chess with are the others. They're the monsters that, like, dude. And this is the dude that's gonna come up with the next generation weapon? For what? What is he looking for? Is he looking for revenge?
The fuck? Yeah, I don't know.
What
is this
I mean, I'm asking a question. I'm not saying if he's looking for something else, fine. But it looks to me like his mind is pretty. And who came up with the mouse? Like, they were doing this animation, right?
Yeah.
And then somebody said, put in a mouse that holds a newspaper with the brain on the cover. What? Is the mouse... Who's the mouse? Is the mouse... I don't get it. Anyway. And he's yawning. The mouse is yawning, or is it... And then the guy smashed the clock. Really? The Dutch guy that you were playing against, Danish guy, smashed the clock? I don't think he did. Who knows? He was a 30-year-old who was probably thinking, what am I going to do for lunch after this? Because a chess player doesn't win a lot of money unless he's winning.
I think you're portraying it as like Hassabis asked for this. This is, again, it's still propaganda, but the propaganda is that
Hassabi is, well, it's his company. He's in charge of this video.
He did okay it, but I don't think he directed them to do this. He just signed off on it.
I don't think so, dude. I think he asked for it. I think he said, look, I'm going to tell you a story.
You think
and I
so?
want you, I'm going to tell you a story, and I want you to make a video animation of that thing that I'm telling you. And they presented to him probably several options, and he picked this one. Yeah.
Maybe, dude.
I mean, what? How does it work? I don't think it works any other way. They told him this. Hey, you're gonna do this, and that's it. Anyway, this is the guy. Oh, you'll see. All right.
And we were in this incredibly unusual ending. I think it should be a draw. But he kept on trying to win for hours. finally, he tried one last cheap trick. All I had to do was give away my queen, then it would be stalemate. But I was so tired, I thought it was inevitable I was going to be checkmated. And so I resigned. He jumped up, he just started laughing. And he went, "Why have you resigned? It's a draw." And he immediately, with a flourish, sort of showed me the drawing move. I felt so sick to my stomach. It made me think the rest of that tournament, it's like, are we wasting our minds? Is this the best use?
Dude, first of all, I don't think that dude was like, ho, 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 ho. I think he was like, hey, man, why'd you do that? Let me show you. This should have been a stalemate. We should have both been whatever it's called.
Draw.
A draw. It should have been a draw.
Yeah.
You know? But in his mind, because he was pushed and he was tired, in his mind, he saw that as, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're
This is
dumbass.
adversarial. This is adversarial.
But in Lichtenstein, a Danish guy, those guys don't show any emotions. No. I don't buy it 1 second. Those guys are, like, yeah, man, you should have done this, and that's it. And he probably smiled because he realized, this kid, you know, he's young. It's a mistake. He's gonna learn from a mistake.
Yeah.
And then Hassabis probably resigned, not because he thought he was gonna be checkmated. I think in the end, his brain just said, "Dude, we got to go home," because he was young. He was a young dude. He was subject to for hours to play check for hours. What the hell? Chess for hours? No,
Yeah.
It's the whole thing seems very adversarial. Very if you're gonna engage into discovering a new system, a new way of doing things, this is not a new way. This is war again. This is not a new way. This is a war way again. You can't build a system, a good system, based on flaws and defects and trauma, and that's how cultures ended up practicing pedophilia as a accepted social interaction. You know, it's
all human dynamics are.
Yeah, you got to start
treat
with
all
benevolence.
of them as you treat all of them as conqueror and conqueree.
Right. Yeah.
That's
why, every time you talk to an entrepreneur, for example, they tell you their favorite book is The Art of War by some
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu. Samurai, some dude. That's why all the companies are looking to screw everybody, because you're constant war.
Yeah.
All right, so they do they're done with Alpha Zero, and then they start with Alpha Star to try to beat the human champion in StarCraft. Let's watch this.
Welcome to London. We are going to have a live exhibition match. Mana against Alpha Star. At this point now,
What is it, StarCraft 2?
Alpha Star 10-0 against professional gamers. Any thoughts before we get into this game now? I just want to see a good game. Yeah, I want to see a good game. Absolutely good game. We're all excited. All right, let's see what.
Oh yeah, StarCraft 2.
Alpha Star is definitely dominating the pace of this game. Wow, Alpha Star is playing so smartly. This really looks like I'm watching a professional human gaming from the Alpha Star point of view.
By the way, this guy Mana, I don't have the sequence here, I believe, but he hits 800 clicks per minute. And the Hassabis says that it's hard to do 800 clicks per minute, let alone do 800 useful clicks in a minute. But this guy can do that.
The StarCraft people are insane. The people who play a lot of StarCraft are like the holy shit.
By the way, also, how many clicks is Alpha Star limited to? They don't do clicks, right? There's no mouse.
Yeah.
You don't have a robot that does clicks.
There's no arm that has to transfer human dexterity into it. That's all programmed immediately in. You don't get click fatigue. You don't get nothing.
Again, all of that bought, paid for with a burrito.
Yeah.
Maybe okay. Let's ramp it up. 4 burgers and
that guy was not eating 4 burgers.
Right.
Let's be real here.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, let's be generous to the guy and give him 4 burgers. That's still a lot cheaper than one Alpha Star needs to run.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. And I think even if they get it really good, it will still require more than 4 burgers to win a game. And it's only a game. It's not real. It's not real life. It doesn't help anybody. But
it doesn't help any. It takes away from the enjoyment of many people of being able to.
Oh, but look who is going to get some help.
Oh, awesome.
And that makes it even clearer how important it is for our societies to be in control.
Here you go. Control. We're talking about control, right? We're talking about control. Abuse? Who's going to abuse this technology? I can think of at least somebody that's really going to abuse this.
I can think of a guy with $5.3 billion in Google shares sitting on the board of AI.
Yeah.
Right now.
More powerful surveillance.
How do you keep
there you go.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Over something that's much more powerful than you.
Is this? No. Hold on. Is it here?
Outintending human researchers, out-manipulating human leaders, and
Yeah.
potentially subduing us with weapons we cannot even understand.
Into certain directions. We know what the directions are. It's the direction of the rocket flight towards the target.
Technology is used to do terrible things.
That's the truth.
Technology
And then
is used to do wonderful things and solve all kinds of problems.
he's talking about this.
When DeepMind was acquired by Google, you got Google to promise that technology you develop won't be used by the military.
Right.
Surveillance.
Yes. Tell us about that. I think technology is neutral in itself, but
Remember this. I think technology is neutral in itself. You'll see why. It's the same movie. It's in the same movie. You'll see. This is crazy.
How, we as a society or humans and companies and other entities and governments decide to use it is what determines.
It's basically, he's basically saying, look, I'm making a very dangerous weapon because I'm curious about how much damage it can do. And then it's up to you guys to come up with the way to limit the damage. I'm just interested in the research of how much damage can it do. It's just like Oppenheimer.
There is an element to what's being created at DeepMind in London that does
It is.
seem like the Manhattan Project. There's a relationship between Robert Oppenheimer and Demis Hassabis in which they're unleashing a new force
Yeah.
on humanity.
Mana's fighting back, though.
Yeah, man, but you know what?
Thoughts?
Oppenheimer was strong-armed into it. First of
doesn't
all, there's a
matter, yeah.
distinction because Robert J. Oppenheimer was basically blackmailed into developing the nuclear bomb.
By the way, also, the reporter asked him when Google acquired DeepMind, he made them promise they won't do that. That is bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't hold any company to any promise because their only fiduciary obligation is to the shareholders. That's it. You can't. Whatever promises you made, stop. It doesn't matter. You're not going to do it. They're going to keep zero promise if it doesn't increase the value of the shareholders.
Yeah.
And guess what? If you don't use it for military, it's going to keep the value of the shareholders low. If you use it for military, it will increase very, very much. So, yeah, that's an empty promise is putting it mildly. Empty promise is being generous. That is a lie. It's really a lie. That's what it is. The truth is right there.
I think that Oppenheimer and some of the leaders of that project got caught up in the excitement of building the technology and seeing if it was possible.
Where is AlphaStar? Where's AlphaStar? I don't see AlphaStar's units anywhere.
They did not think carefully enough about the morals of what they were doing early enough. What we should do is with powerful new technologies, try and understand it in controlled conditions first.
And that is that. Mana has defeated AlphaStar.
All right. One burrito wins. The guy with the burrito freaking wins. All right. And now they're moving on to the more positive story, although you'll see why I'm also cynical about it. But, yeah, it's called the protein folding problem.
Thousands of very smart people have tried to solve protein folding. I just think now is the right time for AI to crack it.
We needed a reasonable way of applying machine learning to the protein folding problem. We came across this Fold It game. The goal is to move around this 3D model of a protein, and you get a score every time you move it. The more accurate you can make these structures, the more useful they will be to biologists. We spent a few days just seeing how well we could do. We did reasonably well, but even if you were the world's best folded player, you wouldn't solve protein folding. That's where we had to move beyond.
Maybe there's about a dozen of those. You know, I hope it's within my lifetime. But then also
So they started looking at the protein folding, and then they have kind of a report of some sort.
My dream has always been to try and make AI-assisted science possible. And what I think is our most exciting project last year, which is our work in protein folding, and we call this system AlphaFold. We entered it into CASP, and our system was the most accurate predicting structures for 25 out of the 43 proteins in the hardest category. So we're state of the art, but we're still, I have to be clear, we're still a long way from solving the protein folding
All
problem.
right, so they're far from solving it. Then
I just felt disappointed.
they have a crash.
Ambition is a good thing, but you need to get the timing right. There's no point being 50 years ahead of your time. You will never survive 50 years of that kind of endeavor before it yields something. You'll literally die trying.
So they abandoned the folding protein problem. And they move on to other projects.
Powerful enough to actually start playing games in teams and competing against other teams. We're seeing cooperative social dynamics coming out of agents where we haven't pre-programmed in any of these sorts of dynamics. It's completely learned from their own experiences.
When we started, we thought we were out to build an intelligent system and convince the world that we've done it.
I mean, This is the big problem. Another thing, this is kind of feeding into the critique a lot of people have of AI, and I've kind of touched on it throughout this, but a lot of people are like, this is not what AI is. It's not supposed to take over our activities fully. It's supposed to solve, like, the protein folding problem would have been a more admirable use of AI, in my opinion.
Well, you'll see that's a good point, and you'll see that you'll be satisfied
to play
about
our
that.
games for us.
Yeah, no, it's that the leisure activities
It's
should
not
not
supposed
be.
to make our art for us. It's not supposed
No.
to make our music for us. These are human activities designed
Which, by
for
the way,
humans.
just so to make it clear, for example, I know there's an AI generated song out there that at some point Joe Rogan pointed to, where some guys took lyrics from 50 Cent's song and put it in a 20s like 1920s like swing jazz genre, and they say, oh, it sounds great, sounds amazing. Yeah, you know what? If a human would have done that song, everybody would have been against it, because it's a swing whatever. It's full of vulgar language. If a human would have done, like, it uses the words like motherfuckers and bitches and hoes, and if you use it in that swing like genre of music, a lot of the black community or a lot of humans would have been like, well, who is this artist that mocks the culture and mocks and puts this fingerprint or this
Well, I'm not even sure that would be the problem. I think people are past the point of being offended by stuff like that in the modern era. But I think
I don't know.
Most people.
But hold on to your effing hat. Yeah. And watch the next clip, because this is where, again, the truth sips through the skin.
Careful with how we use it and thoughtful about how we deploy it. You'd have to consider what's its top level goal. If it's to keep humans happy, which set of humans, what does happiness mean?
What? Wait, what? What did he just say?
Which set of humans?
Which
That's
set
really
of
interesting,
humans?
dude. Really?
First of all, who chose you to think of that, by the way? So now, because you invented a weapon, you also get to decide.
Nice, bro. Nice. Yeah.
You don't have enough challenges. Now which set of humans?
That's insane.
And if you think about how it's supposed to keep humans happy, what is the definition of happiness? Demis Hassabis is going to define happiness now for everybody, for all the humans in the world. Demis Hassabis is the guy that does this. And if you look back to the Lichtenstein sequence earlier, well, we know which set of humans he's not going to keep happy. It's the monsters across the table. Those are the ones that are going to be the others that
That's such a crazy Freudian slip. Which set of
humans? By the way, you guys, the fact that you let this through, even through editing the video, the movie,
a nice self-own,
right?
Moron.
How many did you have to cut? If this got through, how many did you cut? How many others?
Yeah, how many others didn't?
What is the raw material here? What did you guys, when you joke, what kind of jokes do you make?
It's insane. That's insane.
Look at him. Look at the guy. He's in deep thinking. He's in deep thinking mode.
He has a deep mind.
Yeah, he has a deep mind, and he's going to make the decisions for all the humanity. Yeah. Look at him.
Now, this would really happen in a time frame that sort of like
We have to be thoughtful of how you deploy it.
in your thinking.
We have to be careful with how we use it and thoughtful about how we deploy it. You'd have to consider what's its top level goal, if it's to keep humans happy, which set of humans, what does happiness mean?
Just like Sam Altman also, like you saw the Sam Altman Tucker Carlson interview where Tucker Carlson said, hey, who chose you to decide
human values?
Who put you in charge? Why are you in charge of human values? Sam Altman said, yeah, I was raised Jewish. Well, good for you. So what if somebody in Africa doesn't believe in, doesn't accept homosexuality? Who are you to tell them they're wrong? They might be wrong, but who are you to tell them they're wrong?
Yeah.
Same here. This guy, which set of humans? Are you crazy? Oh my God, dude,
it's a power trip for a lot of these people.
Right,
I think
that's true.
The most
That's
important
the
moment
correct
that we have ever faced.
statement. That's the correct assessment. Absolutely.
My dream was that on the way to AGI,
they're going back to AlphaFold.
revolutionary technologies that would be of use to humanity. That's what I wanted with AlphaFold. I think more important than ever that we should solve the protein folding problem. This is going to be really hard, but I won't give up until it's done. You know, we need to double down and go as fast as possible from here. I think we've got no time to lose. So we are going to make protein folding a strike team.
Strike team. Shut the fuck up, man.
It's all right. Yeah, Tiger team, whatever. Just don't call it the God team.
Yeah.
I'm happy that you didn't call it the God.
No,
team.
it's so like cringe macho.
Incorporate some domain knowledge. We had some fantastic engineers on it, but they were not trained in biology.
All right.
As a computational biologist, when I
And
initially
then in the middle of that,
and you know, it's gonna be fine.
The Prime Minister has announced the most drastic limits to our lives that the UK has ever seen in living memory.
I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home.
It feels like we're in a science fiction novel. You know, I'm delivering food to my parents, making sure they stay isolated and safe.
by the way, later on, it turned out that Boris Johnson had parties at what is the number 10
Downing Street?
Downing Street, yeah, Downing Street. He was having parties with cheese and wine. And the employees of the office were coming to the parties, no masks, nothing. Just like in California, Gavin Newsom was hanging out at the French
embassy.
No, the French what is called the French Laundry or French some. There was a restaurant, a luxury restaurant. There used to be a laundromat or some, I don't remember exactly. The French something.
The French Laundry during COVID.
French Laundry.
What the hell is the French Laundry even?
Yeah, it was a place where they were hanging out, and so these guys, they realized that they're gonna fold the protein for COVID to show that their system works.
I think it just highlights the incredible need for AI-assisted science.
That's the need. AI-assisted science. Good, yeah. AI-assisted science. I'm not saying it's a good selling point. And they solved.
After half a century, we finally have a solution to the protein folding.
Protein folding.
When I saw this email, I read it, I go, oh shit! And my wife goes, is everything okay?
I call my parents. I'm just like, hey, Mom, got something to tell you. We've done this thing, and it might be kind of a big deal.
Can you be more cringe? Like, you can't just tell your mom, we had a breakthrough. We did this thing, and it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, they're doing the Marvel
Did
writing.
you?
Guys, you're going to want to take a look at this.
Yeah.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
The mom was like, are you pregnant? What's going on? What's going on? Like, that's a big deal. The rest of them, I don't want to know. By the way, so in the end, these guys, I believe here, no, where is it? Yeah. So, check it out.
Yeah.
So, in 2024, him and John Jumper, the leader of the strike team, got awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. I think none of them is a chemist, by the way. They're just good programmers. and that's fine. That's great. Give them the Nobel Prize for Chemistry. It probably won't repeat, because now it's all about, okay, an AI is going to come up with a bunch of solutions. There's no need for anybody to get a Nobel Peace Prize or a Nobel Prize for Chemistry or other sciences, because AI is going to solve the problems. But let's continue to be cynical, because this is too good of a story to just leave it the way it is. The problem is not, by the way, the humans, they don't have the problem of not being able to solve the protein folding problem. It is a problem, and yes, they found a solution because they approached their challenge the way the old saying says: a guy with a hammer sees everything as nails. Look back and realize this. Boris Johnson gave an authoritative order to stay in house baseless. It was a corrupt decision meant to produce profits for companies that were making an experimental drug and then forcing people to inject themselves with that medicine. And who didn't, and even who did it for a while, were forced to stay indoors. Everybody knows now that shouldn't have been the problem. And if these guys were not focused, and if these guys were not focused in the screen, they would have probably looked for solutions other than, let's see if AI can justify authoritative acts from the government. No. And by the way, okay, so you solved the folding problem. So what? Where is the vaccine? Why are you solving a problem that has no meaning to me? Okay?
Yeah, what is the protein? Is it just you're able to
it's
determine
bullshit
how
that I understand that it's protein is a chain of amino acids.
Yeah.
And they fold in certain patterns, and so you're supposed to figure out by some form of math or some other kind of scientific method, you're supposed to figure out how it is folded. And then what? Take me to the end of it. Why is this stopping here? Okay, great. You folded they'll show in the video. They folded 2 million or some amount of malaria, all the proteins for all the diseases in the world. They folded. Freaking fantastic. Okay, Can you ask the stupid computer to also come up with a goddamn vaccine? Or do we now need to, well, you know, we need another challenge, Alpha Vax or some other project, another Alpha Vax strike team. And like, why are you feeding this bullshit with a little spoon? Gobble it up, dude. Solve the problem. If the disease is known, COVID, don't just show me the full folded protein. I don't give a shit about that. Is that going to save me? Yeah, it will when you finish the job, but you didn't, you know? Anyway.
Yeah.
To close this whole thing, which is a great, well, where is it? Oh, yeah. No, not here.
Oh, is it on a different tab thing?
Yeah.
Also, why is your thing so much? Oh, wait, no, it's okay. Weird.
So, because obviously we all know who is very interested in artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Are alive and well, apparently, Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, did you see the Tel Aviv thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think he's actually still alive?
I mean, I hear a lot of people saying that he's alive.
I think it's a guy who looks like, I don't know if he's dead. I mean, well,
I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
I'm just saying.
Dude, who fucking knows at this point?
Yeah. It's who knows? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. But so I went on. Let me do this. What is it to record?
A screen record?
5. Is this right? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna record the screen because I want to see. Is this right? Is it recording now? I don't even know. That's not what it... Oh, okay. Yeah, it's recording. Okay, so if you go to the Epstein library, where, thank you, Thomas Massey, and all the 427 votes for, and 100 senators for the Jeffrey Epstein Transparency Act, or actually Epstein Files Transparency Act, EFTA.
Yeah.
EFTA. So I was just curious. I was like, hey, so we're supposed to look at these two movies. That's great. Let's search in the Epstein files the name. So I go here and I look at the screen. I'm searching Demis Hassabis.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Ooh, there's a lot of records. Pages and pages of records. Obviously, 27 total results. Let's open the first one. See what's happening. Am I 18? Yes, I'm 18.
We're both 18.
So, to gevacation@gmail.com, Jeffrey Epstein, gevacation@gmail.com, from, from Elon Musk.
Sent.
An email just says, Demis Hassabis. Good job, Elon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
Thank you.
This is interesting.
My favorite.
I guess the feud with. I guess the feud with Larry Page is not over. You're telling Jeffrey Epstein the name of the guy who is in charge of AI at Google. All right. I don't know what to say, man. I guess, Somebody owed somebody some favor of some sort. All right. We're done with this as well. The first record. I didn't even have to search a lot.
Oh yeah, there was more. There was like 3 pages.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm pretty sure that it's. I'll find more if I search. Okay. All right. Concept of degrees of freedom. Yeah, I know what I want to say here, but I don't know if it'll kind of bring down the mood, maybe, or make it even nerdier than
we have. Yeah.
At some point, it was Elon actually that pointed out a few years back. He had an interview where he was presenting the fact that there are different games of different complexity levels, and really, life is also a game that is an infinite level of complexity.
Right.
But to kind of show the increments, tic-tac-toe is a very, very simple game, and if you have a very rudimentary computer, and it doesn't even have to be a phone is too advanced for it, it'll quickly realize that tic-tac-toe has no winners, because wherever you start, however you try to go, you can always end up in a draw. And then from tic-tac-toe, you can increase the number of cells on the board, number of squares on the board, and then you also increase the complexity of how the pieces on the board move. So if you go to a chess game, a game of chess has a lot more squares on the board, and then different pieces move in different ways, and so they're able to do more complex tasks than the X and zeros of the tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
Later on, if you move even higher, you get to the AlphaGo, or the Go, game of Go, and you have even more squares, and then your pieces have even more degrees of freedom, and they can move in different ways, and you can position them in such ways that you get to perform even more complex tasks. Now, going to the prehistoric times, when humans on Earth were not many. There was a very small amount of humans, so small that actually there was plenty for everybody. I think that in those times, the only reason people would fight, it would be maybe they liked the same woman, or some maybe mental illness or something else, but
fighting over resources makes no sense.
Right. As long as at that time, because the resources, the food was not scarce, the hunting was not a challenge. Everything seemed fine. There was no fighting, no wars. So it seems to me that the economical activity, the solution to economics problem, needs to come first. And if you solve the economics problem, you would need no military problem. So if we're doing this AI thing, why are people already engaging in military AI?
The intent was arguably never to provide for...
I don't think so. I think that anybody that came up with an AI startup was at some point visited by somebody like Eric Schmidt. Was visited by somebody from the by the way, not just in US, because I'm pretty sure that Chinese AI companies are also visited by the Chinese military industrial complex, and the Russian AI is visited by the Russian military industrial complex. My problem is, why is it that these AI entities are not first putting their resources into solving the food scarcity problem, the housing scarcity problem? Why,
the water scarcity
the water scarcity problem. Why are these people not doing that? But also, can we put in charge somebody that was not completely traumatized in childhood? Somebody that has a happy perspective of life, that sees other humans generous and have benevolent feelings towards each other.
Why would you do that?
Right.
That's not.
Yeah.
That's not going to produce an attitude of someone, because I think you need someone like that. If you're operating from the perspective of this like cabal of sociopathic Bohemian Grove type characters, I think you want someone like Demis Hassabis, who's kind of...
Which, by the way, I'm not saying Demis Hassabis... I
that
realize...
Freudian slip was clear.
I realize that we're being cynical about the movie. I realize that...
But it's everything around the movie, too.
I want to give him... Look, let's not become the monsters we're trying to fight. So let's give him a benevolent perspective in the end. I think he did a great job that he solved the protein folding problem. I've stated my criticism about that, meaning, yeah, you used your hammer to knock a nail that was not a nail. It doesn't matter if the protein folding problem, great, you did something for chemistry. You did nothing for humanity. We still had to lock down. We still had to wear masks. There's still people today that wear masks for no particular reason now. Really, I've been injected. I'm having brain fog. I'm struggling. It's not good, Fantastic protein folding problem. Now you got something to lose. They hooked you, You got a Nobel Peace Prize or Nobel Prize for Chemistry. You and your buddy got awarded, and now whenever you raise your voice against the system, they're going to tell you, we're going to take this away. You want to lose your Nobel?
Illustrious award.
Yeah, you want to lose your Nobel? Just, can we have somebody in charge that, hey, you know what? I don't think that guy really was that Danish guy was really that much of a monster, Did he rape you? What the hell? Why would you picture the Danish guy as a massive monster? That guy's probably still alive. He's older now, but he's probably still alive. He's going to look at this video and he's like, what the hell, dude? I was just trying to show you this, because I'm pretty sure in his mind, what's happening in your mind is so much more projecting about you than about the other is ridiculous. I've realized that about myself. I've had moments when I would panic a lot. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet this person, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm realizing, dude, it can't be that bad. He's just another human being just like you. It's okay, you know? And I also realized that I'm projecting a lot of times negative stuff because of my own trauma. But I didn't, you know, like, just, I don't know. Yeah, we should have people that are in charge of these weapons and tools, because a tool is also a weapon. And the weapon, by the way, is also a tool. You know, because, by the way, you know, nuclear research can help us do nuclear propulsion for rockets.
Nuclear propulsion, nuclear energy.
Yeah, nuclear energy, nuclear propulsion. We can make great things out of those.
He is right. Ultimately, Hassabis is right. All technology is neutral most of the time. There's always some positive spin you can put on this, because AI, what it is, it's a big machine learning. It's one really big fuck off math problem, and you could put that to use. Machine learning can be put to use to do important things that are like the protein folding problem, which is a good
or you can put it to good use to keep a certain set of people
a certain set of people
happy
at the expense of every other strata of humanity. That's okay. We can use it for that instead.
Well, you know, speaking of set of people, did you hear people, they found that Epstein was talking about goyim and the N-words.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, it's
awful stuff.
Well, of course he was racist. He was a fucking
I don't
Zionist.
know I don't know if you can say of course. But yeah, he was. It's shocking. It's ridiculous. I also I found what was I was searching something. Let me see if I can replicate that. Oh crap! I didn't stop the recording of the screen.
Nah,
I did it now.
Oops!
Just start it again because I want a new. Come on. Where is it? Okay. I want to replicate, and so let's do a new window here. Epstein Files. I want to say this. I would search for. It is quite a lot of money, and I think these last two. So it is quite a lot of money. So Jeffrey Epstein is talking to somebody that is redacted, which means it's hey, can you pay attention?
Yes.
So the person is redacted. It's from a BlackBerry from T-Mobile. And the person is redacted, which means it's a victim, right? So, and he's saying, is this you? It is quite a lot of money.
Your screen turned off.
Huh?
The screen turned off.
Oh, why?
I don't know.
Hold on. Is it on now?
Well, it's powered back on. Let's see if that means it's connected again.
Is it looking? What's it looking?
No signal.
Oh.
Maybe it's on your end.
Hold on.
Let's see.
Is it doing better now?
There you go.
All right. So Jeffrey is asking this person, this victim, is this you? It is quite a lot of money. And then the person replies, it is. I got really scared of what he told me yesterday. That is a huge mess with all my redacted on all of them. And if he doesn't change the surface now, in 3 years we'll have to put redacted with a frowny sad face. Is too expensive here, so I'd better have them done in Romania. Cause is cheaper.
Because he's much cheaper.
Much cheaper.
You can identify the fucking accent this guy's writing. Because he's much cheaper.
Yeah. The ones he did yesterday were really damaged and it was painful for me. So I'll cancel my next appointment.
Sent via Barry.
And then from Jeffrey Epstein to that person, are you going to pay his bill? How much did they say it would cost to finish the job? I don't understand. And then the person replies, unfortunately, at the time being, I can't afford to pay him, sad face. I didn't know it was that expensive. And then Jeffrey Epstein replies, I'm confused. Did you tell him that you couldn't pay before he started the work? Did he tell you how much it would cost? What would you like me to do? I think you are terrific. Why did he send me the bill? You need to find out how much it will cost to fix Romanian, probably remaining or Romanian.
Romanian, but spelled wrong.
No, but it's lowercase, I would imagine.
No, he's just being weird. That's Romanian.
Cost to fix. Romanian are the problem, not the cure. And then, why do you say I'm terrific? I didn't ask him to send you the bill. If you don't feel like helping me with this, I'll find a solution. I'll run in Romania. All right. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, But I mean, fix what the hell did he do to this victim that he needs to fix? And then looks like the victim is pretty kind of cheeky, a little joking or whatever.
Yeah.
And so next link, it's exactly the same thing. But now it's not redacted. It's about teeth. It's about cavities.
Nah.
Is this you? It is quite a lot of money. It is. I got really scared of what he told me yesterday. That is a huge mess with all my teeth, cavities on all of them. And if he doesn't change the surface now in 3 years, so somebody from Romania was hitting Jeffrey Epstein to fix their teeth. Which, I know, we shouldn't joke about Jeffrey Epstein. The one thing I want to say is this. Who redacted the previous one? Why did they redact teeth and cavities? And by the way, did they break the law when they did that? Because
I don't know.
the
That's
redactions
really
are supposed to be justified.
They're supposed to be protecting
victims. Yeah. What is protecting here? What are you protecting? I understand now. Yes, there's a person that did this, but that's pretty much.
That's fucking odd.
Very odd. Very, very odd. Anyway, I found a lot of other interesting things in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Maybe we'll talk later.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask you for. I think I have a lead that would be, I think, interesting, but maybe next episode we'll do something about it if it's really interesting. All right. So we're coming to Michael Parenti.
Yeah. I can talk briefly. I talked about it briefly at the start of this show, but Michael Parenti, born, as far as I understand, born to a working class.
Dude, I didn't put my glasses.
Nah.
Are you kidding?
Your anonymity's cooked. We have to blur
now.
you. We have to blur you now. So yeah, Michael Parenti, born to a working class family. He'd kind of been that's kind of been his that was something he was very proud of for like his entire career, because he was I mean a lot of these other, like the Noam Chomskys and stuff and stuff were very kind of either born into like middle upper class families and then kind of adopted the moniker.
Your camera doesn't work anymore.
How long has that been true?
I don't know. I'm just seeing it now.
I was not. I should have been
Was it
repairing your file.
Are you kidding me?
That is fucking Steve. File repaired. Okay. It's starting a new one now.
All right.
Well, if we lose footage, we lose footage. But yeah, kind of yeah, he Italian American, obviously by the name. Born in NYC, lived most of his life in NYC, and kind of what the work that I'm familiar with him, the work that I'm most familiar with from him was Black Shirts and Reds, which is a book I had to read for one of my courses, and it was a long time. It was a couple of years ago, but what I remember and what I think Michael Parenti does, and that I really like in that book especially, that is different from a lot of other figures on the American left, is that he's actually not interested in engaging in lesser of two evils politics. And basically what I mean by that is I think a lot of American leftists, for example, Bernie Sanders, as I'm not quite as critical of, I do have problems with some of the ways Bernie Sanders conducted his 2016 campaign, but I'm not nearly as critical of him as I think my dad is. But Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, all of these, Elizabeth Warren, even some of the maybe more radical, Cornel West, they engage in these lesser of two evils politics, and Black Shirts and Reds is kind of really an attack on neoliberals, liberals, and a critique of their lumping fascism and socialism into the same boat of both being autocratic, authoritarian systems. And the argument throughout the entire book is basically that is a deliberate, the constant mixing of these words, communism and fascism, socialism, fascism, they are constantly intermingled deliberately because they want you to associate them as being the same ideology, when in reality that's not true at all. And he does a pretty thorough historical analysis of the history of socialism and the history of the fascist movement with Benito Mussolini, and kind of the track record of fascists killing unions, putting leftists in forced labor camps, and really draws a strong distinction between the rise and the nature by which fascism takes power and what a socialist government typically does. And I think that kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things, because that's the antithesis of that would be the horseshoe centrism argument, which is basically the further left or right you go down in either path, eventually they loop back at the top to be the same ideology, like a horseshoe. And he kind of made the argument that that's bullshit, because even as deeply flawed and as much as you can critique the Soviet model and the state communist model, they did a lot of things objectively better than fascism, and in many aspects, even Michael Parenti very quick to point out that in the early stages of Reconstruction in Eastern Europe, a lot of countries were actually looking towards democratic socialism mostly as a preferable alternative to liberal globalist capitalism, because they rebuilt faster. They rebuilt faster and more equitably. Initially, the Marshall Plan it's not like we remember it today. The Marshall Plan was initially had very mixed, the opinions throughout Western Europe were a little mixed, and that's why communist parties across Western Europe had so much backing, is because the Marshall Plan was very unequal in how Reconstruction after World War II was done. It was very heavily favored big private conglomerates. It very heavily favored armaments industries. And Michael Parenti kind of blows the lid open on that demagoguery pushed by modern neoliberals and neocons. And then also, my dad just pulled up some clips here.
But before we move to clips, I want to point out, and I know we talked about this, but I want to leave it for the podcast as well.
Mm-hmm.
I am not. I'm caught between two worlds, meaning that I grew up in communism, and the communist regime under which I grew up until I was 13 was, at least the memory that I have, that basically what affected me most was the fact that we had power outages, sometimes 2 hours a day, especially in the winter. We would have power outages. It was really cold in the house. We didn't have heat we had water heaters in the apartment building where we were living. The TV program was a lot of propaganda. It was really boring, and for a kid my age, it was really hard to. We just had to watch. For example, we were watching cartoons maybe for 10 minutes a week. That was it. They would show us every now and then. They would show us a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and even that one was not a full cartoon. It was just a sequence, very small piece of it, and that was it. But the worst part of communism for me was rations. We were everything was rationalized. Bread, milk, eggs. Yeah. By the way, bread, just because you had the right to let's say a carton of eggs a month,
doesn't mean you got it.
Doesn't mean it was guaranteed. You still had to. When you heard, I remember when I was a kid, we used to play especially in summer vacation, we would be outside playing soccer, and then somebody would come out at the window and say, call one of our friends' name, and they didn't even tell him what he was supposed to buy.
You're right.
You were just told, go to the store. And we all went, even though he was only yelling at his kid, go to the store. We all went because we knew that there was something at the store. And by the time we knew it, there was going to be a long line, and by the time we would get in front, our parents would have come with the money and the bag to buy whatever it was. It was eggs, it was rice, it was meats, or whatever it was. We would go to the store. So that was the hard part. The part that wasn't that hard was, food was scarce, and it was rationalized, but I've never heard of anybody, dying from malnutrition. But one thing you can say is that the food was not as full of chemicals as it is today. And I don't know if that's because of communism and capitalism, or because the chemical industry or the food industry got so entrenched with chemicals. They put all kinds of hormones in meats. They put all kinds of glyphosates and other. So like I said, I'm caught in between two worlds. I don't think in the end, I think I've heard when communism fell, I've heard people that have had their children disappear from college because they talked to the wrong person, said the wrong thing against the regime, and they were disappeared. So
yeah, that would be really horrible.
That would be
if you criticized a regime and spoke your mind on a college campus, and then police came and abducted you and took you away. That would be
right.
I could never imagine that happening today in a developed capitalist nation.
Really? You can't?
No, that would be.
Are you being sarcastic?
That yeah.
What are you talking about? People
the anti-Zionist protesters. Replace everything you just said about communism with AIPAC, and it's the same story.
With AIPAC, yeah.
So, one thing, the other thing I'll say about that is Michael Parenti was never a harsh critic of Stalin. Stalin, and you'll find actually there is no sympathy for Stalin in most Marxist camps in most of the Western world.
Yeah, I don't know.
But for example, say what you will, and he makes an excellent point. Say whatever you want about Lenin's conduct during the 1922 revolution, all of this. You can make a lot of very valid and reasonable critiques of the Soviet model and the Soviet Union and the Bolshevik Revolution as a whole. Russia, prior to the Bolshevik Revolution, was a country that was maybe 80 years behind the rest of Europe. Almost all of its population was subsistence farming. Almost all of them were illiterate. There was no state health care. They would die en masse, freezing in the cold, while the Tsar continued to have extravagant bourgeoisie, opulent parties with the ruling class of Russia. And it must be said, all while the patriarchy of the Russian Empire protected the Tsar, the Romanov family, and their way of life throughout the entirety of the existence of the Tsarist system. And in maybe 10, 20 years, the Soviet model turned Russia from a starving, backward, illiterate country into the second greatest power on earth.
Every time, and I understand that, but every time
there was state health care,
hold on,
everyone was guaranteed housing, everyone was guaranteed health care. There were abuses and there were problems, but by and large, it was a massive improvement over what came before. And
no, I don't know if that's true. because in the process, the Russian people have lost their soul. They lost their spirituality. It didn't save them from anything. Stalin, after the Second World War, actually, even before the Second World War, he arrested a lot of heroes from the First World War. And it's actually a valid, definitely after the Second World War, a lot of heroes with medals on their chest got arrested on the day they came back home.
Oh, absolutely.
And put in the gulag for 10 years. And then some of them got released only to be arrested again and do another 10 years. It was an insane apparatus. The problem is this. Every time, and the same goes for the Chinese Communist Revolution, under Chairman Mao. The problem I'm having is this. Whenever people say we're gonna fail as a state, this country's gonna fail as a state if it continues this way, they don't mean that the people are gonna disappear or get destroyed by other people. They mean this country's gonna fail if I'm not in charge. Sometimes, like Chairman Mao, for example, that was the solution he saw. And he wouldn't listen to anybody that gave him another solution. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So he just took the mains of the state and then ran a 200 or 20 million people genocide.
Yes.
And he called it a great thing. Yeah, after you eliminate 20 million mouths to feed, you'll find that you have extra for the ones that are left alive. And the ones that are left alive are going to also be grateful. That's the big trauma of genocides. Once the genocide is completed, the people that are still alive are going to be grateful to the people that are employing this genocide. They say that they're employing the genocide to save the nation, but in fact, what they're saying is, no, I'm saving the nation with me on top.
Yeah,
because a lot of times those nations could be saved if these guys would step aside and let somebody that is reasonable. Okay, but
yes,
yeah.
And one of the main critiques I can make of Lenin, Lenin was supposed to hold free and fair elections after the Russian Revolution, and the Bolshevik Party lost those. The Bolshevik Party lost those elections to the left SRs, the Social Revolutionaries, and Lenin and the rest of the Bolsheviks went into the Petrograd Soviet, rounded up everyone, and just said, go away. Yeah. And that's truly when the one-party state was established, and that's where really so absolutely any positive mention of Lenin or the Bolshevik system needs to be accompanied by a scathing critique of the humane abuses and injustices committed by that system. The same way anyone who speaks positively about the American liberal democratic capitalist model, whenever anyone brings up the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, the idea of every human is given an explicit right ordained by God to the exercise of free speech, association, and religion, needs to be accompanied by the mention of the fact that the United States government, throughout contemporary history and even into colonial history exterminated and engaged in the forced sterilization of Native Americans, blacks, Hispanics, the forced eviction and the intentional spread of diseases to those communities. And
yeah. Understood. And that's why I'm saying but I don't think, again, I don't think that, and we've spoken about this before, and I'm also the system where you what's the definition of communism? To each
according to their ability, to each according to their need, needs. From each according to their ability.
Yeah. That system means that the government is has a very strong surveillance industrial complex. Because by the way, I'm not, people say the censorship industrial complex, I don't think that's the paradigm. That's not the correct classification. The industrial complex is not for censorship. The industrial complex is for surveillance. The censorship is a branch of that military or of that surveillance industrial complex. And I think that the reason I'm making this differentiation is because if you have an enemy, you should be you should be good to define it. And the enemy here is not censorship; it's surveillance.
And circling back really quickly to Michael Parenti, that's where I like him a lot, because contrary to a lot of other Marxists, Michael Parenti is very clear that private and personal liberties need to remain even through any sort of cultural, economic upheaval of transitioning to a democratic socialist regime.
And the truth is this, you were speaking earlier about the subsistence economy. I think, actually, at the individual level, the subsistence economy is the solution. I think that every man, every person, every family in their yard should be able to raise chicken, to raise any kind of poultry, ducks, geese. What's wrong with that? Why is that a problem? It cuts into the profit of Tyson and Purdue. That's the problem. Other than that, there's no problem. They keep talking about the aviary flu. F the aviary flu. There's who died of the aviary flu in U.S.? Where is that aviary flu? There's no point. This is a ridiculous, if it makes noise, so what? It's natural noises. What do these people do if the noise is so bad? What do you do when it's a storm? Are you suing the storm? There's thunder. What do you do when it's thunder? What, you can't sleep because the rooster croaks at the 4:00 in the morning? There's nothing more beautiful when I go back to Romania. There's nothing more beautiful than a quiet village, and at 4:00 in the morning you hear a rooster. Yeah. So what? What? Somebody can't sleep? They have insomnia? You know why they do? Because they eat bad food. Because they're not allowed to grow that food in their yard. That's why. Grow it in your yard. Put some salads. Put some stuff in there. Put some tomatoes in your yard. Put some vegetables, cabbage. You can grow cabbage in your yard. You can grow pepper. Pepper is $6, $9 for 6 peppers. $1 and some for 1 pepper. That's just crazy. That's crazy. Dill is sold in a plastic box. A branch of dill is put in a plastic box and it's sold for $3. Why? You can grow dill in your yard.
Yeah.
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 No, I think I'm not saying, sure, go ahead and make food for the cities, right? If you live in the city and you're in an apartment complex in a block, you have no yard, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, if you have a backyard, it's so stupid to deplete it. Every time the grass grows a little taller, you have to mow it and then take all of that juice, put it in a plastic bin, and give it to a corporation. And then another corporation that, by the way, both of these corporations are owned by the same people from Vanguard and the other ones, BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street.
Right.
So you take the good soil stuff, you put in a plastic bin, give it to a corporation, and then when your grass is not going to grow anymore because you've depleted the soil because you didn't let the carbon recirculate, and you have no animals to shit and fatten up the land. What do you think happens? Oh, a corporation will give you some soil in bags. Why? Why do we have to put corporations in the middle of a natural cycle? Dude, yeah, the grass is going to grow and then it's going to go dry and then it grows and grow dry. And every now and then, I should have some chickens to shit in my yard and fatten up the land. That's what you're supposed to do. It's ridiculous. So I'm not saying absolutely you should engage in not industrial farming, but definitely scaled up farming where you turn a lot of
there's
grain.
A need for a society for that.
But wherever there's a possibility for somebody to grow their own food in the yard, that should be very much encouraged. Very much. Not like the way we did it, and then they reported us to the homeowners association. Oh, you have poultry in your yard. You got to.
Also, it's an issue of distribution, and that's a separate conversation. A lot of them, we actually overproduce for agriculture in this country. We overproduce.
I don't know, man. I've not seen the numbers, and even if they would show me numbers, I wouldn't trust them now. Because they've lied in so many other aspects. It's getting ridiculous. All right, let's watch this Michael Parenti video.
So one of the laws of capitalist motion and development is this inexorable expansion. And that means expansion into an expropriation of the third world. A process that's been going on for about 400 years, perpetrated by the Portuguese, the Spaniards, the Dutch, the Belgians, the French, the English, and most recently, most successfully, most impressively, by the Americans. That is by the ruling classes of these countries, not by the ordinary people. The ordinary people simply paid the costs of empire. The ordinary people simply sent their sons off to die on the plains of India or in the jungles of the Congo or in Latin America, wherever else. But that expropriation of the third world has been going on for 400 years, brings us to another revelation, namely that the third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich. Brazil is rich. Mexico is rich. Chile is rich. Only the people are poor. But there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. There's been billions for 400 years. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the rubber, the bauxite, the slaves, and the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped, they're overexploited.
That's a very correct statement.
Yes, absolutely.
One of the countries that had a great deal of Western capital in it was Tsarist Russia. Mostly English, French, some German, some American, including one Herbert Hoover, who with Leslie Urquhart, famous British millionaire, owned the Russo-Asiatic Corporation, which, if the Russian Revolution hadn't happened, Herbert Hoover would have been one of the richest men in the world. And years later, when he was President of the United States in 1931, when 1/3 of this country was unemployed, when people didn't have enough to eat, when people were driven to the edge of desperation, President Herbert Hoover said to the San Francisco Examiner, he said, "My greatest ambition in life is to see the overthrow of Bolshevism in Russia." There came, with the Russian Revolution, a break in the fabric of international capitalist history. There now was a country where the unwashed, where the workers of Petrograd and Moscow were actually taking over, where they were actually taking over the land, the labor, the technology, and the resources of their country, where communists were coming in to power. And there's a remarkable correspondence between Secretary of State Lansing and President Woodrow Wilson, in which Lansing says, "The Bolsheviks are wanting in political virtue. They would preach to the ordinary man that he might elevate himself through political means rather than by dint of hard work. This would be a most unfortunate example to the common man in our country and other countries." They understood what was the threat. The Americans themselves, the American ruling class, had very little cap, didn't have all that much. I told you about Hoover and a few other speculators, other people like that. But they joined in with 14 other nations to invade the Soviet Union, to overthrow the socialist government that had just been put in after the Tsar was overthrown. That process of invading a revolutionary country is still happening before our eyes. If you want to understand those years after the Russian Revolution, just look at what's going on in Nicaragua. Invasion, either by directly with troops from your own country, or by using surrogate troops, and they use the white armies and the white generals, the white guard armies. Embargoes, isolation, withholding food supplies, sabotage, encirclement, refusing diplomatic recognition. These are the methods that are used, and these are the methods, time-honored methods, that are being used right now by Reagan against another revolutionary government, which is Nicaragua.
Well said.
Yeah. It's like I said, some of it is true, some of it is, there's nuances there, but man, you know,
fun fact,
whomever thinks, and I'm trying to think, I'm trying to realize, is it because, would we have a different opinion if, let's say, we had 3 houses and we would be on the beach every year for...
We probably would.
For 2 weeks or a month.
We don't.
Well,
why would you plan for a hypothetical like that would not happen?
Well, no, because then the ideology... An ideology that is defined by your... Well, an ideology that you support, if the support of that ideology is directly influenced by your material condition, does it mean then it's a correct ideology? Is it really your true ideology? Or is it just you being resentful for being poor?
I mean, it definitely can be, but all ideology, even capitalism, even communism, is influenced by your material status. Why do you think so many rich people are libertarians? Because they'd like to keep their riches. Why do you think so many poor people are socialists? Because they don't have anything.
Right.
And in my from an objective top-down perspective, why would I base my worldview off of an assumption off of a hypothetical situation in which I'm in an unfair position of material advantage?
But you need to
constructed and built through exploitation of people.
Yeah, well, hold on. The exploitation of people. This exploitation of people is a strange concept, or not necessarily something I mean. What I want to.
No one becomes a millionaire without exploiting people. That's
hold on, but
objective.
Understood.
Fact.
However, why is it that there needs to be caution when it comes to swinging the pendulum in the other direction?
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's true that right now there's a lot of communist or very deep socialist inclination in the American public, but the truth is,
in areas, yes.
Yeah,
in cities,
years ago,
yes.
They were in Austin, Texas. They were.
The Democratic Socialist
with,
Party has less than 100,000 members.
Yeah,
the socialist movement in America is stymied by the fact that you are propagandized to about the nature of socialism. Socialism is not presented correctly in any American school at all.
Yeah, no, I understood that, but the problem is this. Right now, it looks to me like we are not in capitalism, in free market capitalism. And I'm not sure if the solution is to go full swing into communism. Just because these capitalist guys went feudal doesn't mean we have to go full swing in the other way.
Herbert Hoover was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Before him, Warren G. Harding. Before him, who was a profiteer and a trafficker of alcohol and a corrupt bureaucrat. Before him, John C. Breckinridge, Jefferson Davis, Alexander Stevens, billionaires of the planter class, of the plantation class of the Deep South. It seems like these people always need, for their worldview to work, they always need a subservient, permanently chained underclass that will do all of their hard work for them.
Yes. And when that happens, the solution is not to say, well, we're gonna do a redistribution or whatever.
No, not an abolishment of private property.
Right.
But
yeah, you should still keep the free aspect of the potential. Understand the potential of economical independence of the individual. All right. So if I have my house, I want to be able to own a gun if I want to. Correct. I want to be able to defend myself. I want my property to be enshrined in the Constitution, which it is. I want my ideas to be rewarded per the Constitution. I want everything to work well. I don't want to, just because we're afraid of the Tsar, doesn't mean we have to go Bolshevik. Okay? Yeah, I understand. I don't like the Tsar, but the Bolsheviks were not a lot better. Not for everybody, at least. The Ukrainians have a different opinion. The Romanians have a different opinion. The Czechs and the Slovaks have a different opinion. The Poles have a different opinion.
Really? That's interesting that you should say that, because Michael Parenti actually talks about the Czechs and the Poles, and in the aftermath of the in the aftermath of the collapse of the Soviet Union, the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact, most people in those countries wanted the retention of a state-controlled economy. They were really worried about Western private interests pouring capital into their country, buying out and privatizing all of their local resources and businesses, and siphoning wealth, industry, and resources out of those countries, which turned out to be true.
Poland currently, well, first of all, the Czechia separated from Slovakia, and now they're two different countries, which is the correct way, because they were never the same people. The Czechoslovaks that's not a people. There's the Czechs, which are mid-European genetics.
That's a complicated history, but that was not a popular choice. That was a deeply divided choice at best. It was mainly proposed by a few Slovak nationalists in local legislature, and the Velvet Revolution was not a popular decision. It was not a referendum.
The reason they separated is because the Czechs are more of a German.
Bohemians.
While the Slovaks are Slavic. So the two of them were not, their cultures were not even, they weren't even having the same cultures. So they completely separated, and I think that's fine. The Poles, before the fall of the communism, the Poland was in debt 3 times the value of the country at that time. Now the Poles are the biggest ally of the United States in NATO, and they purchased billions of dollars of F-35s, and they've renewed their military capabilities. They're the ones that were ready to go to war with Russia in support of Ukraine more than any other country. They just, whatever, the European Union didn't pull the trigger.
Amazing. So the country is wealthy because they're Article 5 trigger happy, and they get a lot of military bailouts. That doesn't seem like a...
But hold on. The Poles have a lot of national pride because Poland was actually a very civilized country before France even was unified under Charlemagne.
That is true.
So, and now the Poles are coming back. They're already stating their independence and sovereignty against France and Germany. You know, they have a lot more to. They have a much a more dignified attitude in the European Union. So it's not entirely the Warsaw Pact. I understand it worked and it was doing well, but at least from the Eastern European countries, a lot of them have had to suffer under the influence of USSR. Now, so Estonians, Lithuanians, Romanians, Ukrainians. So it's hard.
It's a nuanced issue because even the Baltics, it's not entire. That would be an interesting issue for a future podcast episode, actually. Yeah. But that would basically double the length of this video.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine.
And the U.S. has done that very successfully in a lot of. We talk about how poor Poland is. We talk about how poor the Baltics are, and that's very valid. The Soviets did extract a lot of wealth from those nations. They extracted a lot of wealth. They built a lot of things. They built a lot of the blocks in Poland, and a lot of the blocks in Romania, a lot of the state built. Palatul Poporului. built by communists. A lot of the state buildings in Poland still in operations,
but
built by communists.
The People's Palace in Romania, in Bucharest, was not built because we were under USSR influence. We built it against the fact that we were under USSR influence.
But it was built by a communist, by Ceausescu,
right?
Correct?
It was built by communists.
The PCR.
But the reason he was able to afford all that is because at some point he spoke heavily against the invasion of Czechoslovakia by the USSR.
Which was a more socialist move.
Right. And when he did that, President Nixon invited him over to the White House. Jimmy Carter had him over. Jimmy Carter even said about Ceausescu, "This is the smartest man I've ever met." So, yeah. So,
well, but look at that. Look at what the Soviet Union does. They come into a country and they build commie blocks and they extract your resources. What does America do in Haiti? What is America doing in Venezuela? What is America doing in Nigeria? They come in, these private companies siphon wealth, and then they leave. They don't leave behind anything.
Yeah, I know. But in Romania, USSR, during the famine, USSR was having us send them trains filled with meat. Pigs, they would take our pigs. They would chop off the end of the hooves, and from the knee to the hoof, they would chop that off. They didn't want that. They only wanted the good meat of the pig. No heads, no hooves, just the fat, juicy part of the meat. After Second World War, we were really like the Romans in that, what was his name? The Gaul chieftain that famously said, "Woe to the vanquished." Right?
Yeah.
So I don't.
Again, that would have to be its own podcast episode.
Yeah.
We should research more heavily. This is a passing conversation. Again, but I think a lot of what Michael Parenti said made sense. Even if you don't necessarily agree with his political leaning, you can't deny.
I agree with the fact that, for example, today in Romania, there's a huge dilapidation of natural resources by the European Union. The natural gas of Romania goes to Hungary. The oil goes to Austria.
The forests go to Sweden, to IKEA?
No, they sold those. They sold those? Yeah. It's going to Austria. I mean, all the lost forest, it was Langhofer.
The water is privatized now.
The water is
by a French company.
By French companies. So all the natural resources.
All of our industry is gone. All of the industry that was established.
Well, it's not ours because we're in U.S. But the Romanian industry is gone.
Yeah.
We don't live there, but
we don't.
What I'm trying to say is this: what Mark Parenti is saying is correct. It's just it's not only U.S. that does this. The rich countries of Europe are using the European Union as an empire for them. Mm-hmm. So the European Union is a huge empire where some countries like Romania, Bulgaria are treated as second-class citizens. You will never see a president or a commission, a commissar of the European Union, like in today's position is Ursula von der Leyen. You will never see a Romanian in that position. You will never see a Bulgarian in that position. You will never see a Slovak in that position. There's a certain group of countries that are very clearly marked as you are here to serve us. And the most relevant and most indicative of this approach and of this treatment is the fact that during the pandemic, we were ordered, the Romanians, not we, Romanians were ordered to stay indoors, don't go. They arrested a guy who was riding a horse to the hospital to see his girlfriend who just had a baby for him. Had his baby. He couldn't get a car. He couldn't get a cab. So he left his village near Iași and rode the horse was trying to ride the horse to the hospital. And the cops pulled him over, stopped him from doing that. I'm not sure if they arrested him or whatever. That's how bad it was in the pandemic. But when the Germans needed asparagus picked up from the farms, they made a waiver for two airplanes of Romanians to go and pick up asparagus from the German farms.
Of course. We are the exploited laborer class of Europe now.
Right.
That's what we are.
The resources from Romania are drained. The Romanian resources are drained. Right outside Vienna, there's kilometers and kilometers of an oil refinery. The oil from Romania is refined near Vienna, and then Romanians pay the highest price for gasoline in the European Union.
Yeah.
The Bulgarians south the border, Bulgarians pay almost half the price. So, yeah, it's almost $2 a liter. That's a quart.
Yes. And that's what Michael Parenti was talking about. Wealth is extracted from the poorer nations who don't industrialize and don't have a means of defending themselves.
Yeah.
We are the Romanians, Eastern Europe is the oppressed underclass of...
Yeah. Another quote from Michael... So the main quote from this is, there are no poor countries.
Only overexploited.
Overexploited countries.
You want to do the leash quote?
The what?
The leash quote?
Which one is that?
The chained to... people don't know that they're chained to a post until they try to get up. Do you not know that one?
Right, yeah, I know. If they're...
Is that what you were about to say, or did I jump the gun?
If they're... I think if they're trying not to get up, they don't realize they're chained to a post if they stay close to the post.
Yes.
Because they imagine that they're free because...
They haven't struggled against the post yet.
They haven't struggled against the chain.
Which is what I appreciate about Michael Parenti, because Michael Parenti, that's a very populist attitude. And I think that really fits in with freedom of speech, the Bill of Rights, freedom of association, and really showing that those two ideologies are not compatible with a more humane economic system. Let's not call it socialism. A more humane economic system.
And then another quote that I like from Michael Parenti is, one second, I'm really tired. I think
we might have to wrap up after this because I gotta go to
4 hours almost.
Yeah, we've been at this for a minute.
The other quote that I was gonna bring up is, aid is poor people from rich countries paying money to rich people in poor countries.
Yeah.
That's another true statement from aid is just poor people in rich countries paying money to rich people in poor countries. That's all it is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an effort to destabilize their local economy. Yeah. That's what USAID did.
And bribe their oligarchs to steer the country.
Absolutely.
In a depletion mode. To steer the country in a way where the oligarchs benefit from selling the resources to the rich country that took the money from the poor to give to the oligarchs in the poor countries.
True.
and that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
another good one. I hope.
We got some good ones. We had some good conversations. We went pretty long today, but I think that was a good show.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting topics. I think prepping. I gotta do some reading now about next episode. Should be interesting. But yeah, that's been episode 1, the official first episode of the Hora Staccatto podcast. I've been Alex. This is my dad. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Twitter eventually. You can catch us
X. I've already posted some on X. Yeah.
X.
Yeah, let's give the Caesar. Actually, it doesn't matter. It's still
whatever.
But yeah. It's been
a great show. I hope everyone liked it. If you have anything you'd like to send our way, we have comments. We have ways you can reach out to us. Feel free to do that. We will engage with the audience however we can. I'll set time aside. We'll get back to y'all. Any comments, any questions you want to leave about us, about what we talked about, feel free to do so. We'll catch you guys real soon. And as always, all power to the people, no power to the pig. Peace out.